Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ramadan kini tiba lagi. Tapi kali ini Ramadan disambut dengan suasana yang berbeza disebabkan COVID-19. Banyak kebiasaan yang menjadi tradisi kita tidak dapat dilakukan tahun ini. Tetapi itu tidak menghalang kita dari terus ke hadapan, dari mencari rezeki ataupun beribadat. Dengan teknologi digital, kita masih boleh berhubung walaupun tidak seperti biasa. Dan berdoa wabak COVID-19 ini berakhir dalam masa terdekat. Ramadan ni, Ramadan bukan biasa. Ramadan ni, Ramadan luar biasa. Ramadan luar biasa.
Hello everyone, I hope you have a great day so far. I'm June and welcome to eDagang Expo #eDX organized by Malaysia Digital Economy Corporation MDEC and supported by Kementerian Komunikasi dan Multimedia Malaysia KKMM. This is the third session of the day. But some of you might be watching us for the first time. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of recap about eDagang Expo. This is a 5 days event starting from 4th of May until 8th of May, featuring a series of webinars to encourage and educate local businesses to start selling online. This event will start from 10:30 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. and we have about 4 sessions of webinars each day. And each session will last for about 75 minutes. Now, before I forget, for those who are watching us through FB Live, do share the link to your friends or maybe tag your friends, because the more the merrier, right? We hope more people will benefit from this session. Also, do stay engaged. You can post questions to our speakers throughout the presentation and by typing at the Q&A session for those who are watching us through Zoom app, and also those who are watching us from FB Live, you can type your Q&A session your Q&A at the comment section, because we are going to have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. All right, for registration of our others webinars and also for more details about eDagang Expo, please do visit our website at www.go-ecommerce.my. All right. So earlier today, we had a sharing session from MDEC and Shopee. And now we have Mr. TK Chua with us from Boost Order. Mr. TK Chua? Mr. Chua is the founder and CEO of Boost Order. He has a total of 15 years of experience in various high technology multinational companies. He is very passionate about using technology to help SME to achieve high impact digital transformation. So you better listen to his presentation very carefully. Yeah? Welcome to eDX, Mr. Chua. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Awesome. I'm good too. Fasting month, I'm all good.
Yeah,
So, yeah, your topic today is connected B2B business, 5 e-commerce trends that affect B2B business, and how to transform and adopt to the new normal post MCO. Now, that's a very long but very interesting topic. Without further ado, over to you, Mr. Chua.
Thank you, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you for the introductions. So my name is TK. So today I'm here to basically share with you our thought specifically on B2B, right? Our company name is Boost Order. We are actually a software. We actually focuses on helping B2B. B2B means business to business, centric businesses to digitize your sales channels, right? So that then, you can actually stay relevant with all the technology that's happening now. So really, our focus is 3 types of companies. Be it you are a brand, you are a manufacturer or a distributors, we actually want to help you to digitize your sales channels. Now, digitalization is really just a means to the ends, right? So think of technology like Facebook, think of technology like Instagram. What Facebook have done actually, it doesn't really change anything at all, right? It actually, what it helps, it actually accelerate, it actually helps us to connect better using the means of technology. The same here. When it comes to brand manufacturer or distributors, we want to use technology to help you to get closer to your customers. And the gotcha here is for B2B centric businesses, typically it's a little bit more complex. It's not like everything you can go online. We have to think of it in a way that we can actually help you to get closer to your customers using a means of online and offline. So let me start my presentation by really sharing the 5 mega trend. So we are living in a very...
TK, sorry, you have not shared your screen yet.
Oh, really? Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay. Yep.
Can you also on back your webcam so that people can see you?
Okay, thank you. All good?
All good.
All right. Yeah. So, like I said, what we do is we help brand manufacturers and distributors to get closer to your customers, both online and offline. Okay. So today we are actually living in a very exciting time, right? Where there's just so much technology around us today. You have all these buzzwords going on like Internet of Things, cloud technologies, artificial intelligence, e-commerce, connected cars, electric cars, all kinds of things, right? So all these are really serving as enablers. And the way how we look at it, and after working with a lot of B2B centric businesses, we have come to the realization that actually our life is actually no longer the same with the advent of all this technology. All this change, they actually are being accelerated with this very unexpected incident of COVID-19, where the need to use technology to basically facilitate our daily life has even become more imminent. So with all the availability of the technology, really there are 5 major trends going on. We call it on-demand, personalizations. You do see a changing of demographics. Competition is coming from non-traditional sources and also increase in market velocity. I will go into all these trends individually. The very first trend that we have seen with the advent of technology, right, like e-commerce, internet, what they have enabled is this terminology. We call it the on-demand economy. The terminology on demand actually come very bombastic and very technical to a lot of people, really because it's just not used, right? But the classic examples of how you interpret the on-demand economy is going to be things like Astro on demand, right? So comparing Astro on demand with traditional Astro is that you can actually turn on your Astro anytime and watch the movies that you like anywhere, anytime as well, right? You don't have to like fix yourself in the TV because there's a series or there's a drama that will start at 6 o'clock and then you're gonna stay there, right? And not in the case if you actually are using Astro on demand. So what Astro on demand does is to actually bring entertainment for you, right? Anywhere, anytime. And it provides you with a lot of information about the movie that you're watching, right? So you can know like, okay, who is the actress, who is the actor, you can actually look at the storyline. So that's very different than the normal way of where you watch movies. Another example is things like Grab and Uber. That is actually a very common thing. So what Grab and Uber does is they basically bring transportation on demand. So instead of the concept of buying a car, now you can actually use a mobile apps or use the websites and call a car anytime, anywhere that you want. So again, you know, it's fulfilling the characteristics of you can get a car anytime, you can get a car anywhere. You actually have a lot of information about the drivers that is coming to pick it up compared to the normal way of things are being done. You have a lot of choices. These are all the characteristics of the on-demand economy, where when you open up the apps, you see that there's just so many cars around you, right? When you actually open the Astro on demand catalogs, you see there's just so many movies for you to see. You can actually pick and choose, right? Instead of like fully buying a car, you can now actually ride on it and just basically use whenever you need. And all this really means things are very flexible. So the on-demand economy is a real thing. It is already happening. It is not something that will happen, right? And it's already happening around us today. So another example will most likely be like reading news. Instead of subscribing to a news and having the rider to send to your home every morning, now you can just open the internet and then pick the news that you want to look at and just read it, right? So that's what's happening today in our life. The second trend is actually with the advent of internet, right? Personalization has actually become a norm. So let me explain a bit what it means. I think most people, when they heard about personalization, what they can relate to is probably when you go online to buy things. E-commerce system today is so smart that they will actually recommend you, right? Depending on your purchase pattern, depending on other informations like what are the things that you have browsed in Google, Facebook, etc., and they aggregate all this information and try to smartly, right, recommend to you things that you probably are interested as well. So that's actually a most common form of personalizations. The other form of personalization, which is actually happening to us every day, is I assume like because every day, you know, when you travel, when you actually drive, technology like Waze, it becomes a must, right? Because we want to actually avoid traffic jams. But almost every day when we actually open the Waze like 8:30 in the morning or 8 o'clock in the morning, the first thing that it will actually pop up and ask you is that, hey, good morning, are you on your way to work? So technology is so smart that they actually personalize for you, you know, depending on where you are, depending on what time you are actually using the systems, it will just recommend you what you want to. Yeah. The other piece of example here on personalization, this may not be very common unless you yourself or you have a friend who is actually a Grab or Uber driver, is that you can actually tell the systems that you want to go to somewhere else. And the system of Grab and Uber will smartly try to match only customers who actually is on your way to where you want to be, right? And so that then, you know, while you're actually going to a destination, be it going to work or going to home or going to somewhere to pick up something, it will try to matchmake you with people who want to go there, right? So that is actually a form of personalization bringing to the next levels. The third trend that we are seeing is actually really demographics is changing, right? So what it means is that actually, especially in a very traditional B2B businesses, you do see that actually there are more and more young people actually taking over from the first generations or second generations where they started the business. In fact, in multinational companies, that is also something quite evident. This is actually an extraction of a survey, even though it's the United States or America, but actually it's relevant throughout the world, or where actually we do see that people who actually are buying, right, even in B2B, are getting younger. Yeah, so like, you know, there's increment of percentage of people that actually is become a procurement officer or even taking over the business from their second generations. With technology as well, the definition of competition for B2B businesses, it's very different now. Let me give an example, right? It used to be if you are a distributors, your competitor is another distributors or your competing products. For example, if you actually are distributors of, say, a smartphone, right? Say Samsung. So maybe your competitor will be Huawei. Or, you know, it could be another distributors who actually carry the same brand, and that's how things are. But with the advent of technology like Alibaba, basically anybody in the world can be your competitors. Yeah. So and things like all these e-commerce B2C websites, what it does is also it actually allows any sellers, any person within the vicinity, even individuals can be your competitors, right? So that definition of competition have to be rethought, everything, right? It's no longer business as usual. Now technology is really changing everything. Another example, very classic, is really a combination of travels. Yeah. So it used to be, you know, the hotel competitors is another hotel chain themselves. But now all of a sudden, right, with the introduction of Airbnb, now the competition of hotel is actually all these small apartments and house owners, right? And they aggregate all these things and become a sizable competitors for the incumbents. So technology has really changed the entire competition landscapes as far as, you know, we have seen over the past few years. Last but not least is actually what technology has done is that it actually makes everything move faster. Yeah. So one of the examples that I quoted at the beginning of this presentation is Facebook. So Facebook actually doesn't change anything. We still connect to, we talk to a friend who we interact every day, or maybe we connect to our long lost friend, our high school friend, our primary school friends, right? Now, before the Facebook age, it's actually very slow. Maybe we meet up with our friends once a year. We meet up with them maybe twice a year, during Hari Raya, during Chinese New Year, during all kind of festive seasons. But today with Facebook, what it does is it actually accelerate all these connections, right? It accelerate conversations. So it's the same here, right? So what you see is also like when it comes to so-called technology adoptions, we actually have this findings that you just put like the milestones. We call like when the world actually see a new things, how long does it take to achieve 50 million users? Now airlines, right, actually take 68 years to get 50 million people actually sit in the airlines and fly to another places. Yeah. Automobiles, car, it took 68 years for 50 million people to own a car. It takes 50 years, right, for telephone to be so widespread that now you have 50 million people who can use telephone to call their friends. Yeah, and so on and so forth. And of course, if I were to go a bit on the right, so things like ATM machines, it takes 18 years for 50 million people to accept ATM as a form of way to withdraw money and to actually acquire banking services. Yeah, but further down, you can see as all these things are moving closer to where we are, right? It took only Facebook 3 years to get 50 million users, and it took 2 years only for Twitter. Yeah. So of course, last but not least is a while back we have this trend going on where everybody actually go out with their phones and go and catch Pokemon. Guess what? Pokemon only take 19 days, right, to actually reach 50 million users. So what it means is actually as a businesses, we are all in this, right? So say now you have a Pokemon trends. A manufacturer now want to develop a Pokemon souvenirs or a Pokemon t-shirts. Yeah. So if you are actually a distributors of that products, you only have 19 days, right, to get your stuff, your products, your informations, and all your supply chain up and ready. Because when you miss that 19 days time cycles, the trend will subside because our attention are really fading extremely fast compared to last times. If you are airline, yeah, you know, you take like 68 years. You can actually prepare your supply chain, you can prepare your design, you can prep your sales force, you can prep your fulfillment, everything, because you have all the time in the world to really get all this thing done. So, you know, that is what actually happening in the world today. So really to recap, right, technology has changed our life. It changed our life in the form of individuals. It changed the way how business should actually look at how you want to actually deal with all these things. You have things getting more and more on demand. People don't like one thing anymore. They want it to be fast. They want it to be anywhere, right? They do not want generic offerings. They expect when I actually get an offering from my suppliers, it has to be personalized for me. Yeah. And when you have more young people actually stepping into the job markets and taking over ownerships from their ancestors, from their parents. So they expect things to be even more on demand and even more personalized, because to them this is a norm, right? This is a norm, right? What do you mean by it's not on demand? What do you mean by I got to go through all these things? It's just not acceptable for all the young people. Technology has also changed the whole landscape, where you really cannot think of like I want to hire more people, I want to take more products, and then I'll be in a better shape, right? No, because your competition is totally different now, right? The whole landscape is different, and if your supply chain, if the way how you do sales, your salesperson, your product management, your admin, everything is actually not prepped to take care of how fast things are moving nowadays, then potentially you really have to think properly, how are you going to respond to this. So for now, let's take a very like a quick break here. Just do a bit of interactions, and we're going to run a poll here, right? What do you think, right? Which of the megatrend above you see that is going to affect your business, right? If you do not actually do any kind of transformations. You can actually select multiple. You don't have to select one, because it's not like one trend going on only, right? You actually have multiple trends that is actually happening around the world today, and it's impacting everybody. So please feel free to send in your thought. Yeah.
So TK, we just give another maybe 30 seconds for the respondents to answer. So far, I've seen about 100 respondents.
Oh, wow, okay. Yep, keep it coming.
So I'll close it in another 20 seconds.
Yep.
Okay, I'll close the poll now.
Right, so okay, I'm going to pull this poll result over. Very interesting. So we do see that actually most people feel that the increase of market velocity is the major drivers, right, to change, and followed by everybody is now seeing competition from a non-traditional sources, right? Things are getting more on demand, and also like people expect things to be more personalized. That's very interesting finding. Right, okay, great. Okay. So let's move on, right? So what does it mean actually for B2B centric businesses? Because the topic here today is all about B2B, right? So let's look at a very typical setup of a B2B centric businesses, where on the bottoms here, either you are distributors or you are manufacturers. How you actually manage your relationship is actually through your internal company sales rep. You may have salesperson that is running on the field. You may have sales rep that is actually sitting in the office and making a phone calls. We call it inside sales and outside sales, right? And you have buyer, right? So a buyer here can be retail, it can be virtual retail, because you will be selling something, it's still B2B, but your B2B customers doesn't own a physical properties, right?
Sorry, TK.
Just
Can you speak closer to your microphone?
Okay, sure, right. Yep.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So let's look at how a typical day goes for a B2B centric businesses. The buyer, when they want to buy, because this is B2B, right? It's not B2C. Because if it's B2C, you go to a e-commerce place, you do a few clicks, then that's it. You actually cannot negotiate. There's no stock, then so be it, right? Whatever discount is there, just take it as it is, because there's only one type of discounts. But B2B is complex, because they may be asking for volume pricing, right? And people may be actually buying assortment of multiple product SKU. They may be buying A plus B plus C. Typically, we see an order of a B2B buying. It could like 50 items, 100 items, yeah, or even like, okay, maybe a small one would be like 10, 15 items. So is there a stock or not? So all these questions have to be directed to a salesperson, because salesperson is the person in charge of the relationship of the retailers. And last but not least is things like discount, right? Is there a discount or not going on, right? So at times, salesperson is able to answer the questions, but sometimes, or rather most of the time, they may not have the information. So they will actually have to go back to the office and check for all this information. Things like stock, because a sales rep may not have access to live stocks, or maybe things like promotion bundles. You buy, A plus B plus C, and do you still have stock for C or not? I want this color, I want that sizes, right? Things like this. So imagine you have to really go through all these things just to place an order, right? So it's kind of crazy, right? But that's actually not the end of the story, because placing order is only the first steps for B2B businesses. Once order is placed, here come the fulfillment, because you need to actually deliver them in bulk. You need to arrange with logistics. So buyer will actually ask, they probably have a preferred time where I want this goods to be delivered in my shop, because my shop only operate from 10 to 10, and my unloading window is only 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, right? Don't come during other time because we are busy. Yeah. So, and then they start to ask, hey, where's your truck, right? Are you like on the way delivering to me? Are you missing your shipments? They ask the salesman don't have the answers, and salesperson have to go back to the manufacturer or distributor's office again, so on and so forth, right? So that's the thing. So once the good is being delivered, it's not done yet, right? Because a lot of B2B businesses are operating based on credit terms. So now it's time to collect payment, right? So then they'll be asking for things like invoice. They'll be asking for things like, if I actually pay you early, do I get discount or not? I'm aggregating these 4 invoices, I'm paying this amount of money, So again, all kind of interaction that's going on. And for business, B2B businesses, very uniquely, you have to handle things like return, right? Most of the people have to handle return because this is actually more like a credit sales, and the relationship really go deep, and they buy like a lot. So what if there are defect? What if the trade term says that if you cannot sell it, then you can actually return? So return is the one that actually also take up a lot of effort and a lot of time for the resources of the company, because when you sell, you may be selling in bulk. You will be selling 10 boxes. Yeah. So, but when you return, you are handling with like 3 pieces, 5 pieces. And that's actually not easy, right? So, and you also have to check whether the return is valid or not and things like that. So these operating models is extremely traditional. So a lot of people, to a certain extent, they are kind of like used to it, and they will feel like, hey, is there even any problem with it, right? But we feel that there's actually a huge opportunity to optimize these entire processes. And the business impact is really coming from 3 different perspectives, right? Number one, if you look at from a sales standpoint, the experience is simply not there. Yeah. So a buyer can only actually place the order to the salesperson, or maybe they can talk to the office directly, but with finite time. So you have customer experience problem here, right? And B2B selling typically also is the catalog is like very thick. Right? You'll be selling a few thousand items, or a few hundred items. So that's problem number one. Number two is really the coverage problems, because the only way for a business to have coverage on that amount of buyer is really through their salesperson. Either do a in-store visits, or basically make a phone calls and do telesales. So it's all really depends on human resources here, and everybody is, you only have like 24 hours a day, you cut off all your resting time. That's the amount of time you can actually allocate to do productive works. And last but not least, it's all about expansion, because this model really places a lot of limitation in the resources. The only way where you can expand is you either sell more products to the same people, or you actually sell to more buyers, but in which both require significant amount of investment to continue to get expansion, because the way how it's being set up is already very stressed on the current resource allocation. The second problem is, of course, in terms of cost. I use the word here, efficiency. It's just simply not efficient. Just a lot of ping-ponging, a lot of paper flying around. In fact, a lot of WhatsApp flying around, what we have seen, right? Where you WhatsApp asking for questions, and then there's a lot of answering. And then at one point in time, we have actually talked to one of the owner of companies, and he just showed me his WhatsApp. He said that I've got these 20 WhatsApp groups with 1,000 messages inside each WhatsApp groups. I have no idea what is even happening inside, but I know things are going on. So, we have all this problem, right? So it's simply not efficient. Last but not least is there's just very limited visibilities. Imagine everything is in WhatsApp, the example that I quoted. How do you even know that there's a shipment error? How do you know even that there's like a other problems, there's an order error, there's a return problems, right? Everything is like scattered around all over the places. So in that sense, it's actually simply not efficient at all. So this is really more technical, more internal problems. But if we were to map it back to the 5 mega trends that I just shared, right? Let's do a pulse check here. Where's the element of demand? There's practically 0 element of demand. Yeah. So everything is so-called off demand. So a buyer have to talk to a salesperson, and the salesperson then has to actually just a lot of ping-ponging, right? Where's the element of personalization, right? Yes, it's there. The personalization is really your sales rep, because the sales rep is actually the supercomputers with all the information in his brain, right? But as a business, we have to manage risk, because we really cannot, create a system where you have a single point of failures, where you have tribal knowledge and all personalization actually stuck on a few person, right? That's actually very risky for the business, and you also cannot expand. So that's the problem of personalization. What about changing demographics? Now you have younger people here, and you say that, hey, I'm so used to just, a few buttons get my Grab cars, right? I can go to Shopee and then get my shampoo. But when I go to my business and when I want to buy things, what's going on, man? Right? So that's the demographic problems that we are seeing here. Competition, right? So imagine now you're a distributor of products and you have a new competition. Somebody put the same products, they put on Shopee, Lazada, Alibaba, right? How are you going to respond to it? Right? Oh, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put there. I'm going to start competing on price, right? So is that a way to actually move forwards? Say you want to actually push new products to your customers, right? How are you going to do that? Because B2B is very different. You are dealing with a few thousands or a few hundreds people that you have already properly profiled them in terms of their credit profiles. You have properly profiled them in terms of their buying behaviors. So you need a system, right, that allow you to be able to respond to all this competition in a very fast and very agile manner. And last but not least, competition and market velocity, they come hand in hand. Say, for example, the example that I quoted, Pokemon. There's this Pokemon trend going on, and you want to push the Pokemon branded products to your B2B buyers because people are actually looking for all these things. You just can't, right? Because you have to first probably like create like catalogs here, and you may not even be able to put the pricing because your buyer may have different pricing. You have like a bronze, silver, premium, platinums, and everybody has different pricing depending on how much they buy, how much volume they commit, depending also on, like, for example, not buying, how soon they pay back the money, all this kind of thing. So you have to somehow, right, go back, pass all this information to your salesperson. Your salesperson, you have to compile it and slowly, WhatsApp blast everybody. So by the time you get all these orders come back, I'm sorry to say that actually the trend has actually passed. So this whole thing is no longer working anymore, right? So that's actually what we see as a whole, what is happening in B2B-centric businesses. And especially during the period of COVID-19, right? If a B2B-centric businesses actually operate based on a very traditional means, the whole supply chain actually kind of like is breakdown, right? Because your salesperson cannot visit your retailers. Yeah, they can do phone calls, and then like it's very hard to convey the information. Everything is not digital, so it's just like very problematic. So you may be wondering, if you are listening to this and it starts to resonate with you, am I the only person that is running a B2B business and having these problems? Well, the good and the bad and the good, I know which one first, right, is that you're not alone, right? There's just all kinds of businesses across multiple industries that we have actually been working with for the past few years. No matter which industries you are in, you kind of have the same set of problem characteristics, right? And we've been helping with about so many businesses, right? Close to 100 plus 200 distributors and manufacturers. We help like close to 1,000 plus salesperson. We are currently dealing with 50,000 retailers across our retail network base to really digitize all these things. Yeah. Then, as we look back, right, the heart of all this thing to become more agile, to become more on demand, meaning that you actually put an app, you put a website, whatever, they are all digital transformation. Then we take a step back and ask ourselves: is B2B businesses not investing in digital transformations? Well, not really, right? I'm a B2B business. I buy computers for my staff, right? Everybody is using computers. What do you mean by I'm not doing digital transformation? Well, I'm using accounting software, right? What do you mean by I'm not using I'm not like embracing digital transformation? I'm using email to talk to people now, right? And I have a website. Yeah, I have a website. People can come and they can actually look at our corporate profiles. They can actually look at the product that we have. You have to download the PDF anyway, by the way. Yeah. And yeah, I'm using all kinds of payroll systems, right? So what's wrong? Really, what we have come to realize is that it's really the focus of the digital capability for B2B-centric businesses, right? So far, most of it is actually focusing on internal processes, internal cost efficiencies, right? But not so much on really the front end, the channel, how to actually digitize the sales channels. But the fact is that we feel that this is something that very big that's being missed out, because if you actually clean up your backend, it's really just cost kind of thing, but front end is the one that helps you to generate revenue, right? And that part is probably the gap and a so-called low-hanging fruit that businesses should look at on how to use digital technology to automate things. And hence, we believe that the way to move forward is really bringing the element of internet, right, in your B2B businesses. and make it a connected B2B businesses, right? Now, it sounds good. It sounds glamorous, connected B2B, yeah. Okay, I want to bring internet into my business, but how exactly should I do that? So we feel like there are really 5 angles that you can look at. First is really bringing your product online, yeah. You have to actually bring the element of internet into your product. You cannot rely on like printed papers, printed flyers to continue to operate a B2B business. That's number 1. Once you actually bring your product online, then you need to figure out a way to bring your customer online, right? But if you are dealing with a young demographics of clients, our experience actually tells us that it's actually not very much troublesome. In fact, they will look at it and say that, oh, okay, that's how things should be done, right? So that's the second factors, the second bucket. Once you actually bring your products and your customer online, you've got to bring your team online, right? So we have seen that a lot of B2B digitalizations, they tend to, this either, hey, I want to have an e-commerce portal to get my customer to self-service, all kind of thing. And they forget they have a team, right? They forget that they have salesmen. They forget that they have inside sales, they have outside sales, right? So you've got to bring your product, customer, and your team online at the same times. Then only you can actually bring your management online. Because when everything is digitized and everything is online, then you can actually manage all this thing online. Now, the last but not least, at the heart of every businesses is capitals. Because B2B business, you need capital to run this thing, right? You need to buy stocks, you need to actually pay staff, you need to pay salary to your staff. So we believe that there's also an opportunity to bring capital online, which basically need capitals. Accessing of capital is so easy and just a few clicks away. So that's actually what actually governs the design of our products. So with that, actually, we have like 3 major product lines. The first is we call it Boost Order B2B, right? The intention is actually we want to help to connect a sales channel from end to end. So this is actually a very typical supply chain. You actually have a manufacturer here, you have distributors, and then you have retailers. Some people will look at it and say that, hey, I'm a manufacturer, but I also do distribution myself. Yeah, it's fine because in a way, it's one company, but you're actually doing 2 roles. You may be doing just intra-company trading, right? Because you're a factory that actually produces the goods, and then you actually move it to another department that serves as a distribution arms. So coming back to the idea of like a product, customer, team, and management and capital online, how do we actually do it, right? So the first is actually having a private portals, a private B2B portals. It's not an open portal, it's a private portals. So we call it Boost Order Direct. And we believe that in order to bring your customer and your product online, you have to think of it from a multi-platform standpoint. Today, devices, right? At home or in the office, maybe you actually are using computers. In your home, when you are lying on the sofa, you are looking at iPad. And when you are outside, when you're driving, when you are like doing something else, then you're actually using a smartphone. So we believe that if you want to have a self-service capabilities for your customers, it needs to be a cross-platform kind of solutions. That's one. These B2B portals, it needs to basically more than just ordering, because B2B is more than just ordering. So people want to know what's my order statuses. People want to retrieve their documents. I want to know what's my invoice. I want to know my DO. I want to download all these invoices that you gave me 3 months ago because I have compliance to report for my tax reporting or my financial reporting purposes, right? I want to make payment, and the payment here is different because I'm not like buying and paying, because I'm like selecting multiple invoices and pay one shot. Yeah. And hey, I want to request for return, right? So you have to think of it in a very, very all-encompassing angle from a B2B operation standpoint. So that's why we look at it as really a 24/7 self-service portal where you bring your customer and product online. Now I jump, right? So we actually partners also with financial institutions. Currently, we are partnering with UOB. We also have a few FI in pipeline to come in. What it does really, it brings capital on demand, right? So what it does is basically when you actually buy, a financial institution actually is able to fund that purchase, right? So they actually provide that credit terms up to 60 days. And by that, then you can actually have a better inventory and also better cash flow plannings from a retailer standpoint. Okay. So what about on the distributor side? So obviously, we talk about bringing products and customer online here. Now we need to bring our team online, right? We need to empower our sales force, our field force, with all the credit informations and purchase histories, orders informations, and also give them like information like which customer orders is already hitting the credit term date soon, right? So things like this. Now, to bring management online, that's where we need to have a system that can connect to your accounting systems, right? So Boost Order Sync is actually our proprietary middleware. It's actually developed completely ground up from our companies that is able to connect to almost all the accounting system in Malaysia, right? So we can connect to a very basic accounting system like SQL, All Accounts, Q&E, UBS, Sage, yeah, and to even like higher mid-sized ERP systems like Microsoft, SAP B1, Microsoft Navigations. So we are able to connect all these things to basically provide end-to-end synchronization, where if you are distributors, all your products can be automatically synchronized to your salesmen and to your customers. And when order is being placed, it goes inside your financial systems automatically. And all your invoices are also automatically being retrieved and sent to your salesperson and your customers, right? So really, you know, by having all this integration, it brings a lot of efficiencies. And also now we are able to combine all these data and provide management with a highly interactive business intelligence dashboards, right? So you don't actually have to wait for a few days or a few weeks for the clerks to compile all this data for you, right? So if you want to know like how is your credit situation now, you want to know what is the best quality products of this moment, all the data is actually available for you as a business owner or as a manager to basically look at them, right? And also with the deployment of capital on demand. So what it means is actually now as a distributors, you are actually operating like in a form of pseudo cash term because you have FI that actually help to finance the purchase. So in a way, you actually get the payment T+1, T+2, while your customers actually get prolonged credit terms. So that actually allows you to look at this, and probably you can look at how you can use this as weapons, right, to renegotiate trade terms with your manufacturers. Yeah. So of course, as a manufacturer, the problem here is obviously lack of supply chain visibilities. A lot of time, if you have a lot of distributor partners, and then you may not know what's happening here. So we actually are able to provide that kind of visibility to you as a manufacturers. And you may have your own salesperson. So, you know, it's the same system here for your sales rep. And last but not least, with capital on demand across the entire supply chain, really trade term can be relooked at and cash management can be relooked at as well. So that's actually our first products. We just call it a Boost Order B2B, right? And the intention is really connecting the entire sales channels from end to end. With this actually, it opens up opportunity for us to also operate a B2B marketplace, right? So marketplace is really something very different now because one is actually closed. Basically, your distributors only deal with the finite sets of retailers. These are all your customers. You can actually take part in our marketplace where depending on the agreement that we have between distribution, the retailer actually can be opened up for access to manufacturers. Yeah. So basically, they will be using the same set of systems, but now they will be seeing more suppliers, right? More than basically what a standard, the existing distributor is carrying. And basically, manufacturer is able to have market access to all these retailers. So the question then becomes then, okay, what does a distributor do now, right? So we believe that with the advent of technology, basically, especially in the period of COVID-19, where the supply chain kind of break down, there's an opportunity here for existing distributors who is already in our platforms to utilize their surplus delivery and sales capacity. So what it means is actually a retailer can actually go to the system, place order from a specific manufacturers, and the distributors here can be a drop-off point and a delivery point, right, to cover a certain area here, right? Because in our platform, we do have more than 150 distributor partners, right, across multiple sectors. So we have spoken to quite a few of them, and they are all pretty open to have a further discussion on using this as a way to change a business model. Because what it means now is that as a distribution partners, you actually now are going through a business model transformation where you are now able to sell and fulfill without really carrying or owning the agency right of these products. The third piece is actually, we call it a Boost Order B2C Accelerate. Yeah. So for certain industries, if you are a distributors or brands, right, or chances are you actually cannot sell directly to e-commerce. You need a retail point, right, for you to continue to do the fulfillments. Example would be things like automotive. We do have one as well, example like cat food, right? Pet foods, things like where you have like extremely big markets that you actually just cannot ship out from KL to Kuantan or KL to Penang or from Penang to Johor because they're just too bulky, and it will end up that the whole shipping cost is even more expensive than the product itself. So using our so-called Boost Order B2C Accelerate product line, we are able to integrate with you as a brand or manufacturer or distributors. We can actually synchronize all your product information out and mass enable your downstreams retailers to actually have e-commerce. Yeah, so that then each retailer here is now able to serve the region of their own, right? And by doing this, basically, you are able to empower, you are able to leverage and really empower your retail networks, because it's all about win-win thinking here, where if a retailer is able to sell more, it means if you are a brand or manufacturer or you are distributors, then logically, then you will also be able to maintain your sales or even increase your sales, right? So the other aspect of it is also like, why would people want to actually go with this kind of models? There are certain businesses where you have the problem of channel conflict, where you just cannot go directly to consumers because you have your own existing distribution channels. And this is the way actually how you are able to get your whole business connected as well, now that you are empowering your retail networks. Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to give like a case study here. This is one of our customers who we have been working with for the past 2.5 years. They are basically a apparel and premium and gift manufacturers. They're serving around 2,000 B2B agents nationwide. What they do is basically they sell all these t-shirts, but these t-shirts are not meant for end consumers. They are really t-shirts for corporate agent, where a corporate agent will approach a company, right? Let's just say you're a company ABC, you want to do a t-shirts, right? You need to actually deal with a premium and gift shop corporate agent, right? And these guys are basically buying all these shirts from our clients. So they use a combination of field sales and also inside sales. The problem statement that back then that we were, as we discussed and as we uncovered, are really all the problems that actually which I've shown earlier in the discussion, where orders are really just taking way too many hops, right, to finalize, and just a lot of paperwork on WhatsApp and scattered around multiple places, and people can only place order during office hours, right? Which is something people actually not doing that anymore, because you may have your customers who operate until 11 o'clock at night, and then they want to place order, right? Then they forget about it. They have to they cannot place order from you because you are no longer in operation. So these are all the problem in terms of efficiency, in terms of data scattered around different places, in terms of subpar customer experience. So how we help them are really through our so-called Boost Order B2B solutions, really enabling their customers to be able to generate the quotation by themselves, able to place order themselves, and able to make payment by themselves, right? And for the sales rep, we empower them with basically both actually a mobile application and also a web application, because if there are people who is running on the ground, then they need mobile app. But for salesperson who are actually sitting in the office, then they can actually just open the websites and then helping their customer to take orders. And we integrate with their accounting softwares to basically automate the entire information flows. And we give them almost real-time data, right, on what is the outstanding account receivables, basically how much money, which customer is owning more, etc. Give them accurate inventory levels to both their salesperson and to their customers. And also very clearly showing basically the sales target that every salesperson is supposed to achieve. So what it does to the company is actually it provides them with so much clarity and visibility in the entire operation, and also it helps a lot on speed and operational efficiencies, right? Making the company more agile and more responsive to crisis, and even be able to push more products down their supply chains. Yeah. So really, okay, this is the last page. In summary, these are basically all our product portfolio, right? So we are able to help brand manufacturers or distributors to really automate the supply chains, not supply chains, sales channels, right? We want to digitize it end to end, and really coming from 3 different product portfolios. First is really what we call Boost Order B2B. This is actually a private B2B portals. It helps you as a distributor or manufacturers, digitizing your workflow and also bringing capitals on demand, right, to your distribution networks. The second is what we call a B2B marketplace. What it does is really open up market access. It helps you to rethink of your new business models, especially if you are distribution partners. And you also will get the same thing on demand capitals for retailers and for your distributors. Yeah. And the third product line is what we call Boost Order B2C Accelerate. where we actually want to help you as a brand or as a manufacturers, or if you are like a exclusive distributors, right, for certain products in certain countries, and you don't want to compete right with your retailers. So this is an opportunity for you to basically empower all these partners of yours and really get an outreach at scale, because you have already have all the informations, and you are in the best position to basically enable your retailers to go online in the quickest and shortest amount of time. Okay, so yeah, so that conclude my presentation. I hope I am still on time. Yeah. So I think I'm now going to open it up for Q&A. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Straw. Well, that presentation is full of information, and I do agree. It's B2B is quite complex.
Yeah, it is, right?
Yeah. All right. Let me just pull out the Q&A. The one
Okay,
that
can
I
you
just
stop sharing your
received.
screen?
Okay, all right, I'm doing it now.
Okay, so everybody can see us now? All right, so I received quite a number of Q&A question here. We received a lot, but most of it has been answered by your assistants. Okay, so this is the one that we're gonna ask you. All right, the first question, what kind of promotional activities or assistance do you provide to your customers?
What kind of promotional activity?
Is there some kind of promotional activities for your customers?
Oh yeah, we do. Actually, when we actually work with our customers, basically they are mostly distributors or manufacturers. Right? It's actually marketing materials. We actually have all kinds of marketing templates that they can actually just change the logo of their marketing templates, right? And they can actually just send it out to their retailers. Right? Yeah, because our proposition is that we want you to be successful, right? And we want you to be successful, not only successful, but successful as fast as possible, right? Because time, we are living in an era of speed. So that's actually what we do for our clients.
Yes, awesome. So the next question to you is, how are you different from other B2B platforms such as B2B Commerce or ePerolehan?
So, okay, I'm not very familiar with ePerolehan, but I can talk about so-called the B2B commerce, right? So, B2B commerce, is that like a software? Because obviously
from other platforms,
right? So again, we have looked at it as two different things. So you have this thing called a marketplace, and you have this thing called a software, right? So we have both offering. So basically, we give think of it as we are like a Shopify or like a Easy Store or Site Giant, but for B2B businesses, right? Very much designed for B2B business. In fact, we do have a lot of clients who actually go and try out a very simple e-commerce website. And then it's just not going to work for them because they very complex, right? Credit, different pricing, must integrate to my backend because I'm dealing with a lot of products, man. Are you asking me to like slowly copy everything over? It doesn't work, right? So our unique selling proposition is, number one, we are very end-to-end. Right? We cover basically all the sales functions as far as B2B is concerned. That's number one. Number two, right? We are very integrated. Right? We are integrated with almost all the major accounting systems in Malaysia, which is actually, from my experience, quite a big requirement, right? When it comes to B2B. Yeah. And the third is actually we have a capital's capabilities, right? So you can see a lot of people who are basically a software sellers, right? They are just purely selling software, right? So for us, we actually take it more than that because we partner with financial institutions, right, to bring fintech element into our offering, right? And actually, the fourth one is actually we have big data analytics capability. So really, we combine three things. We are software providers, we have a fintech capabilities, we have big data capabilities, right? So that put it in a very unique position where I believe so far in the market, I have not yet seen somebody doing this kind of offering like we do.
All right, so there you go. It's like all-in-one services, right? Whatever they need, you have it. Okay.
Yep.
The next question is, all right, how do I ensure the service level or the SLA of the logistic services? Because you do also provide logistic.
Yeah, so I guess that part is probably a bit confusing. So we do not provide logistic services. What we do is we provide softwares, right?
I see.
So there are really two things here. So we provide out of the box a softwares for the delivery guy to report the statuses, right? So that's one. We also work with partners because when it comes to software, it's all about integration. Because software is actually really, really huge, right? I mean, like there's so many different types of softwares, right? So we partners with two overseas software companies that provide artificial intelligence-based software route planning services, right? So what it means is actually it allows that kind of automation and that kind of intelligence, right? In managing the fleets. If we can do it, we do it. If not, then we have partners that is already pre-integrated with our systems.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Then that brings us to the next question. How is this system different from procurement platform? Is this quite the same as the other question?
Yeah, right. So I think the procurement platform, again, procurement platform, you have like procurement, so-called platform, and you also have procurement software, right? We are more coming from the angle of as a sales side automation. Because what we do is that we mostly talk to people on the top of the supply chain, right? And we help them to automate their downstream supply chain. Because procurement is really, I talk to a buyer, and we help them to basically facilitate the buying processes.
Yeah.
Right? We really come from more from the angles. Yeah, so it really depends on who you talk to, right? Because if you talk to the retailer, then it looks like it's a procurement, but because we are talking to the sellers, right, then it's actually a sales channel digitalization solution.
I see. All right. So that brings us to the last question.
Sure.
Do you support export? If you do you provide trade facilitation support such as providing documents for border clearance process?
Yeah, so right now for export-oriented businesses, what we do is really just ordering portals, right? Because I mean, if it is a website or it is an app, no matter where you are, all you need is internet. Then you can just download it and then you can actually place order, right? So we support that. But when it comes to logistic clearance, that part not yet, right? Not yet. But when it comes to financing, our current fintech, we haven't ventured into that part yet. We are more really focusing on microfinancing at this point of time, right? Or kind of like purchase financing kind of activities domestically, right? Not so much.
Okay, well, never mind. Soon the custom clearance will come, right?
Yeah,
expanding.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, who knows?
Right? Yeah.
All right. So I guess we have come to the end of a webinar. Thank you so much, Mr. Chua, for being with us. And also, I want to make a quick announcement for the audience out there. If you would like to know more about Boost Order, you can click the link that will appear after the webinar ends and fill in your details. If you miss the link, not to worry. You will receive a thank you email from us, and you may find the link inside that email. And for those who are watching us through FB Live, we will share the link at the comment section. Okay, thank you so much for joining us again, Mr. Chua, and also thank you all for attending this webinar. The presentation slide and also the copy of the webinar recording will be uploaded into e-commerce portal soon. If you would like to get access, do go to our website www.go-ecommerce.my to register, and you may gain access once it's available. We will be right back for the last session at 3 p.m. today with Global Shoppers Malaysia. Signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you.